What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to discuss what happens to Johnny Depp if he wins and what happens to Johnny Depp if he loses. I've talked about this here and there in the live stream, so I wanted to make a video, kind of lay down my bet, my prediction, right? And see what happens. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I'm hoping he wins. I'm rooting for him to win. I think he'll win. And I do expect a decision to come tomorrow, Tuesday. Now, if you weren't at the live streams, I am going to be live streaming the verdict. So once we know the verdict is coming, I'm going to be live streaming. There'll also be a video as well afterwards, so you can get my immediate reaction to him winning or losing. But I really want to talk about, obviously in terms of the public perception, in terms of Hollywood, what's going to happen. So, all right. Let's go after if he wins. Okay, if he wins, let's just go all the way. If he wins, I really think things are very, very good. You could argue that both ways, by the way, for if he wins or loses. But if he wins, I really think the redemption story is complete. Fully. You will still have the varieties, the New York Post. You'll have the anti-Johnny, pro-Amber sites. And of course, there's like 1 in every million people that believe Amber. You'll still have them, right? The truth can't stop these people from continuing to lie and just believe in it because of their movement, or that they can't, you can't drop it. You have to die with the movement because you're a part of it, right? So you're never going to fully stop it. But I believe if he wins, redemption has been served, or his redemption is complete. I believe that. I think he's already won public opinion. I think there's probably enough support in Hollywood as well, win or lose. I think these things are true. And I think if he wins, you really are going to start to see the turnaround in terms of him in movies and him being welcome, whether he wants to or not, by the way, welcome back into Hollywood in whatever capacity that may be. I believe that. I believe that's going to happen if he wins. And like I said, he already has won us. He's already won. If anybody's just watching it, if anybody's just been paying attention, you know what I mean? Like, we're all in the know, and we all know who's at fault here, and it's definitely not him. So, again, what does welcoming back to Hollywood mean? Well, I do think it means a very much increased role in movies, or going back into movies. Obviously, I've had my pipe dream, and, I've talked about this in 5 to 10 other videos over the past month, so I'm sorry it's just repeating. But, of course, I have the dream of Pirate 6. I do. I have that dream. I want it. I think it's possible. I think it's obviously way more likely than something like Grindelwald, considering I don't think we're going to get any more Fantastic Beasts movies because of the box office failure that was Secrets of Dumbledore. I really do think there's a possibility, albeit small, but a possibility that he would return as Jack Sparrow. I know his quotes. I know he said no, all that stuff. I'm saying if they apologize and all that, and again, I've said that in past videos, but again, this is just my prediction. This is just my bet, and you know what I wager? Nothing. I wager absolutely nothing. I wager whether you hate me if I'm wrong or right based off of this. But no, I think, and by the way, I think it'll be fast. Not like he'll be recording a movie or filming a movie like next week, but I think the announcements of or rumors that people are like looking at him and he may be up for this role or that role, I think you hear that almost immediately. Like, not Tuesday, but maybe Wednesday, maybe not. But, later this week, next week, week after, sometime in June, I really start to I think you'll start to hear he'll maybe be in this movie, or now, Robert Downey Jr. is more serious about this, or, hey, Tim Burton for Beetlejuice 2. I think you'll really start to hear that stuff, all right? That's if he wins. If he loses, which is, of course, a possibility, and I don't want it to be a possibility, but it sadly is. Here's the thing. This is where I differ from a okay amount of people, and I'll try to explain why. Yes, I've said it. I've said it like 3 times already in this video. He's won the public opinion, okay? There is 1 in a million that, for Amber. The rest are Johnny. The support on TikTok, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere is very evident of who the public believes and who the public thinks, is right here. If he loses, though, I really think it's still going to massively hurt him, mainly in the Hollywood role. So, granted, and so take it with a big pinch of salt, even though that's using the phrase in the wrong context. I'm not saying if he loses, his life is over, or he's going to be massively disappointed, because he did get his story, and he literally admitted it. He still loses. He still has lost, but at least he gets to tell his story now, and people can believe it or not believe it. So That is definitely true. That's definitely valid, and I believe that. So I think to a great extent, he'll be okay. If he loses, he'll be okay because he does kind of have everybody on his back or on his side, right? But in terms of his Hollywood career and potential going forward, I really think that'll still be a huge issue. Also, what I said earlier, if he wins, okay, there's going to be still those articles here and there. Now, here's the thing. When those articles come out here and there, you can easily reply and say, you guys are morons. You follow a narrative. You don't look at the evidence. He literally won. And by the way, it doesn't really matter if he wins or loses because, if the jury decides, I don't know what the jury was watching them this whole time, you could argue they were playing it very close to then what the formal definition of defamation is. So maybe they do believe him, but maybe there's the legal, mindset got too much into them. You know what I mean? So you could argue it. But I think the people that will call him certain things after this court case is over, if he wins, they're very easy to dispel, I think. And it makes them look really bad. Not that they are, they already are, but it makes them look even worse. If he loses, I think that gives more ammunition. It really is much in the UK, where when he loses, the idea of wife blanker, you can say it as if it's just in your normal vocabulary, right? You can do that, and people have done that. Now, not everybody, and I think probably far less people now that they've actually seen the evidence because they didn't see the evidence the first time. But you know what I mean? So it's almost like, well, you lost. The Sun beat you. So you did stuff to her. And it's like, obviously that's wrong in a lot of different ways, but it gives them the reverse of what I was just saying. It gives them protection. It gives them padding. So while I think the articles and stuff will be written no matter what, and we can come back at them and say, all right, firstly, nobody in their right mind actually believes her. And secondly, he actually won the court case, right? So if he wins, you can say that. If he loses, you lose that second part. If he loses, and there's all these articles and all these Amber bot accounts, which most of them are, then, again, there is a lot you can still say. Hey, the jury also didn't see everything. There's actually plenty of evidence that didn't make it into the court case for whatever legal reasons, but you can continue to educate yourself and find out that no, she's still in the wrong. Like, you just go look it up. If you're so into the facts and you want to believe her stories, well, do a little bit. I know we've been doing this for 6 weeks. Do a little bit more research and continue to come to your own conclusion, because that's obviously what you are. You're coming to your own conclusion. You're not following a narrative or anything, are you? Obviously they are, right? So you lose that. You lose the ability to say, hey, he won. And I, honestly or obviously, I don't know what impact that'll do. I don't. I assume it'll be moderate enough where it'll be annoying and it won't be fun to see. That's a personal problem. I don't know what to say. But besides that, then you have the Hollywood stuff. Now here's where, because I do think these kind of come in connection with each other. If he wins, Hollywood gets, because Hollywood to some extent cares what we think, but most to the extent they don't. Okay, that's probably pretty clear. So the fact that everybody and their mother, quite literally, believes him, okay, doesn't necessarily mean Hollywood is going to accept that as a valid reason. And I think people are smart enough to understand it really doesn't mean that. But they may care about the law. Maybe not, but maybe they do. And so if he has a huge fan base, people care about him, people will support. And now ultimately, Hollywood is a greedy, scummy, money-hungry machine. And so they may not care about any of the stuff. They might just care, hey, he's got a lot of fans. We can continue. But here's the thing, like, they should have already known that, because Johnny Depp has always had a lot of fans, and they know how much he's worth. So it's a tough argument to get yourself in, because I don't know how much they value, honestly, a lot of this stuff. Also, obviously, they didn't value the money enough, because so there is a line in Hollywood where you can do drugs, you can drink alcohol, but there's clearly a line, which is valid. Beating your, spouse is probably a line that you don't ever want to cross. And so when they thought he crossed it, they brought the hammer down. Again, though, now, where do they get their information from? How do they make their decisions? They should make it based off us. To be flat out honest, they should make it based off us. So if you're Disney, if you're Warner Bros. And you're looking at this, right, win or lose, you should be stepping back and saying, what does the vast majority of people think about this guy? Do they believe he did it? Because if 7 jurors think he did it, but 100 million people think he didn't, who do you side with? Disney may be stupid enough to side. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough. How much do they value these legal proceedings? You could argue, we know for a fact Warner Bros. Values it, right? Because when the UK thing happened, he was fired from Grindelwald. So like, we know that. You know what I mean? There's a correlation there. So it is tough. It's tough because if he and again, like right now is different than the UK. Like when he lost in the UK, it wasn't as big of a thing clearly as it is now. It's just there are truly tens of, if not hundreds of millions more people that know what they're talking about in some capacity now versus the UK. So although he lost the UK, it wasn't televised. Some evidence wasn't brought in that was brought in here. All of the and just nobody knew. So maybe you overvalue the legal proceedings. Whereas now, again, you look at it and you say, all right, he lost. Well, what happens? Well, he lost, but everybody believes him. So now we're kind of in a pickle because we have to say, well, because then like Amber and her side can say, are you nuts? They literally ruled that I didn't defame him, which means that I took the beatings. And you're going to have that. And if you're Disney, that's Disney, Warner Bros., Sony, that's a tough thing to... So I guess what I'm trying to get at, 12 minutes in, my opinion on if he loses, I do think is quite different than a lot of people that are his supporters, because it's like, of course I want him to be good. Of course I want to believe that Hollywood will just say, you know what, we've seen enough. We had people watching this trial, and you know what, the jury, it was never really about that. We're not going to put a lot of stock into it. Johnny, you're back. We want you back. We're sorry. We want you back. I want that, and I hope that happens, win or lose. Winning, it's a whole lot more likely. Losing, you're on a coin flip of do they do what I just said, or do they say, look, the court decided. I know everybody else doesn't agree, but the court decided, so you're still gone. That's where I'm at. That's like a 50-50, and then if he wins, I think it's like 100% he's back. And I think some people want the losing category to be still 100% he's back. I don't know. I do think it'll be easier regardless to get him roles in some capacity. But like Pirates 6, him leading his own movies again, I think the odds drastically drop. If he wins versus loses, then it would drastically drop. I think like a Robert Downey Jr. would have enough pull to try to get him in, and it would be okayed now versus 2 years ago. I think it'd be more, you know what I mean? I think it'd be okayed now. But you would need those kind of people, and maybe he only is allowed to go into projects with those kind of people that would have his back that strongly. If it's like a neutral ground, a movie or television, maybe he still doesn't get it because the jury decided no. So I do think there's still some, like to be flat honest, I think there are still stakes in it, win or lose, because I think there is a drastic difference of what happens to him, mainly, and again, to be honest, like to our own eyes, because after this, he's going to go back to, I think, being relatively quiet. You can see him on Hollywood Vampires and stuff like that, but, you know, a lot of people, the next time you'll see him would be in a movie, or, you know, literally, you'll see him as a character. And we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? We'll see if we can get that far. So that's my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are. Again, tomorrow, honestly, I think tomorrow is the big day. We'll be live streaming. We'll have a video. Big stuff going on. Big stuff going on Tuesday. Hopefully. I mean, it could maybe go into Wednesday, but I really think Tuesday's it. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure the bell icon is turned on so you know when all these videos or live streams publish. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.